Hello, my name is Stephen Harris, and this is Breaking Nerd. This week we'll be talking about the Eisner nominations and what's up for Best New Series, Best Artist, and Best Writer. The first book up is Fatale by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. I have come to love Ed Brubaker so much in the past 10 years. His Captain America run is probably one of the most... It probably is the one thing I take most pride in because I have a complete collection of it. I don't have a lot of that, but it probably is one of the things I cherish above all else. Ed Brubaker has proved himself as a great independent writer. He's best known for Criminal, which is a bunch of miniseries that interlock together to provide this... it's about a bunch of criminals and their criminal acts that set place in one city and how they overlap with each other, interact with each other, and it provides this wonderful little dark, twisted tale about how crime works and a new take on noir, if you will. Sean Phillips has a very gritty style. It fits his artwork so well, or fits Brubaker's writing style really well. Fatale, though, is not necessarily incognito or criminal at all. In fact, it's more so Ed Brubaker's take on H.P. Lovecraft. There's, occults, mass suicides, demons, stuff like that. At the center of it, there is a woman who doesn't age, and that's the central mystery of the book. Well, when it was first announced, Fatale was supposed to be 12 issues. Now it's been moved to an ongoing series, which has no definite ending. And, me personally, I don't like Fatale. I do like it, but I don't love it yet. I feel like 5 years from now, when the book is done, I have all the collections in front of me, and can sit in one reading and read all of it, it'll come across as fantastic. But right now, it just doesn't do anything for me. Next book we have is Prophet. Now, I've never heard of this book. Never knew anything about it up until a week ago when I bought it for Free Comic Book Day at a discounted price. Since then, I've come to love this book, and I'm eagerly awaiting the next volume. Basically, it's about a guy who wakes up, and he's told, hey, if you want to reawaken the Earth Empire, go to the top of a mountain and send the signal out, and people of Earth will come back. Well, 3 issues in, he's fighting. It's like this. It's almost like Stephen King's Dark Tower series, where it's an war that's moved on, if you will, and it's a lone hero who has the ability to bring back Earth to its former glory. Well, he gets up there and figures out the Earth Empire is actually a bunch of clones of him dispersed all through space, and basically waking up the Earth Empire is him telling his clones, hey, go take over this planet, which is actually kind of a really cool concept, because it easily lends itself to like other artists coming on and telling their own stories about various clones. Like in this book alone, there's 3 artists who each have a take on each different clone. There's one with a tail, there's one who's just a giant robot. I mean, each story has its own artist and own writer, and it's a bunch of standalone stories that interweave together to make a giant tapestry, which is really cool. The artwork isn't as refined. It's kind of sketchy, but it almost adds to it in a way, because it almost feels like Ridley Scott's Alien, where it wasn't quite futuristic technology, but it was at the same time. Everything's not as glossy and shiny as like Abrams' Star Trek, but it's grounded in reality, which is nice. It probably won't win anything, but I do feel like it's a book to watch in the years to come. So, next up, we have Hawkeye by Marvel. If you're thinking Hawkeye, is that the guy from the Avengers who did nothing? Yeah, you're right, because he's the lame guy with a bow and arrow. But what's cool about Hawkeye, the book, is that Matt Fraction, who writes for Marvel and has a bunch of hit and miss books like Fear Itself or Invincible Iron Man, he actually focuses on Hawkeye when he's not being an Avenger. It's like him training his protege, him helping out people in his apartment building, him fighting Russian mob guys who want to take over his building, who say bro a lot. Like, I don't think it's an issue with the word bro isn't said. So, I mean, it's a fun book. But each issue is a standalone story that provides insights to this guy's life. There hasn't been an overarching story yet, but the standalone issues are great. In fact, I'm willing to say this is probably the best book Marvel has published in a very long time, and probably the best superhero book being published today. While Matt Fraction's scripts are awesome, David Aja's artwork is almost perfect. I mean, it's minimalist, it's dynamic, brightly colored. It almost feels like a cool throwback to Jack Kirby-esque type drawings. And I'm willing to bet that David Adra wins for Best Artist of the Year because no other book on the stands looks like it at all. So now, while these 3 books are great and probably are some of the better books being published, I honestly do not think they stand a good chance of winning. It's all going to come down to these 2. The first of which is The Manhattan Projects by Jonathan Hickman. For those who don't know, Jonathan Hickman is very science-based. He's very almost pretentious in his writing. The thing that makes him not pretentious, though, is his execution and overall delivery of his concepts. The Manhattan Projects is about, well, Manhattan Project in World War II, except for a bunch of scientists. You have scientists with anxiety issues, schizophrenia, one's an alien who eats people, stuff like that. In fact, one of my favorite parts of the book, and its weird, crazy, wacky science-ness, is FDR dies, like the 3rd issue into the book, and they keep his brain alive and like a robot, and Truman's a crazy Freemason. It's fantastic. Like, there's nothing else like it. It's just off-the-wall, crazy science that Hickman does best. All in all, I think I'll see this one win for Best Series, but that being said, it probably won't, because the darling of the comic book industry right now is Saga. It gets a lot of praise, however, it deserves it. Brian K. Vaughan is probably the most enduring writer in the comic books right now. Why the Last Man is a modern classic. No one's going to argue that point. But what makes Saga so great is the fact that it's almost like Game of Thrones meets Star Wars in a way. It's very political, but uses the canvas of space and time and different universes and all that. It's almost like a little bit of a Romeo and Juliet type vibe, because you have 2 lovers from 2 warring planets who have a child, and they have to run and hide, and there's, princes with robot heads chasing them. It's fantastic. My favorite part of the book is that the narration is actually provided by their child, who's, born in the 1st issue. And the narration is, like, handwritten by the artist, so it's very elementary and basic in a way. So it almost adds a more emotional narration vibe to it. And the artwork on it, oh my god, the artwork is fantastic. I know I said all the artwork is fantastic in these books, but this one probably is the best. I have never heard of Fiona Staples until this book, and after this book, I will hunt down everything she does. Like, it's very hard for me to find an artist I like that much. And she keeps getting better and better with every issue. And the price it gets, it deserves. And it probably will win Best New Series and Best Writer. But, the other books were great too, but this is probably hands down the one to pick if you're a betting man. While the Eisner Awards won't be announced until June, July during Comic-Con, it's still up in the air as to what's going to win what. However, I do strongly recommend you read all 5 books because they're all fantastic and probably the best that the comic industry has to offer today in terms of creator-owned books and superhero books. Regardless of what you get, you're going to get some pretty fantastic artwork and a pretty good story out of it. So, until next time, this has been Breaking the Earth, and thank you for watching.